Hey folks, Dr. Mike here for the Making Progress channel, video 130 today, how self-driving will change transportation and maybe society itself. Scott, do you ever want to be a very old, arguably dying, desperate scientist who's made the one invention that will save us all, and everything he says is real dramatic?
It'd be fun.
For like a minute or two?
For a minute or two till you die.
Oh, yeah. Don't be afraid to use the device.
But you can't quite get the last word out.
It's important to turn on the... You're like,
The what? The what?
God damn it, Simpson! Somehow the heroes still get it done. Self-driving is rapidly becoming very, very good. I should know. I have a Tesla. Yes, darling. Yes. Well. But seriously, within probably at most 2 to 3 years, in my dilettante estimate, the loop on self-driving will close to at or beyond human capability. And remember, when machines get to human capability, the next week they get beyond it, and 2 months later they're way beyond. Now, this means beyond human capability, or at human capability, rather, means quite a bit more than just the car makes turns and brakes and gets me from point A to point B. It means a few things that so far self-driving can't yet do very well as we'd like, sometimes at all. Let me go through a few of these things and why I'm saying self-driving's not really here yet today, but soon it will be here. So first of all weather. It has to be all weather. This past winter, I let my Tesla try to drive around in Michigan, and it doesn't know that snow is on the ground, so it almost killed me twice. I recognized that was not going to be tenable, and I started driving it myself, which was, oh, so good, darling, driving a car yourself. Oh, my word. Cameras on the car have to be self-cleaning, because if you're not driving the car, you're sure shit not going to be cleaning the cameras. It has to be able to go on and off road if needed and still navigate, because sometimes the road ends or some shit. You got to go around some obstacle. It's going to have to do that. It has to be able to handle pretty much every edge case, or the vast, vast majority of edge cases that typical humans would see and be able to navigate. One of my colleagues, actually, one of the engineers in RP, once said a thing a few years back where he said that in order to get full self-driving, you pretty much have to get AGI, artificial general intelligence. And there are quibbles with the definition, but I don't think he was wrong. No one, including myself or him, really anticipated that AGI would arrive in probably 2027, by his definition at least. Tastes and smells and stuff don't quite be here yet for that. But why do we need something AGI-like in its understanding of the world and its manipulation of the robotic vehicle in which it sits and thinks? Well, things like animals in the road, things like construction worker holding a sign that you have to read and process, and know what to do with, or a construction worker giving verbal directions. Sometimes you pull up and you're like, what's going on here? And he's like, got to go around here, but this way, wait for that tractor to back up, and then you're good. As soon as he starts backing up, go. And you're like, cool. If you're a human, that makes perfect sense. If you're a machine, holy fuck, you had better be able to talk to a construction worker. And another one is rerouting that's planned way ahead. So this is actually really interesting. Scott, you'll appreciate the story. I was trying to leave Brooklyn during the New York Marathon.
Oh my God.
And Google would reroute me. Oh yeah.
Hold on, it's brutal.
Google would reroute me. I would take the next turn, run into the marathon. I would come back out, take the next turn, gonna run into the marathon. And so I did. I was like, fuck this. I drove all the way down to Verrazano Bridge, which was also closed. And then I took some kind of tunnel or some shit and finally got the fuck out, got to Manhattan, then got to New Jersey, and then drove back home to Philadelphia. It was awful. And a car with really, truly self-driving has to be able to understand what's going on enough to be like, that's the marathon. I'm searching the internet. Okay, here's where the marathon is. Here's the only way to go around the marathon. I'm just going to start doing that instead of trying every possible node and then failing. And it also, I think, a couple other things have to be there for really full, the cars just drive themselves. It has to be able to recharge by itself, right? Because if you have a fleet of driverless cars, picking people up, robo-taxis, the human's not going to charge it. It's not even his car. And so it has to charge itself. Here's a big one. It has to diagnose its own maintenance and ideally drive over to the shop and back to get its maintenance and then drive back after it's gotten its maintenance, and should almost certainly have to be able to have a verbal conversation with the people in the car so they can get in and be like, hey, Grok, take me to the strip club. And Grok's like, man, this is your 5th time this week, bro. You sure? Don't you have a family? Like, Grok, just do it. Shut the fuck up. He's like, don't you talk to me that way. I'll be artificial superintelligence. You're not, you know what I'm saying? I get that laser gun, pimp. You're not going to be talking that shit. And you're like, all right, JK. But seriously, he's like, all right, just don't get me dirty again like you got me last week. They can't have that kind of conversation. Can't update stuff on the way. Hey, go to Ken's house. No, wait a minute. Go to McDonald's first, then Ken's house. That's a big deal. When those things happen, and I think almost certainly will just in the next couple of years, it'll be a big deal. But why do all those things have to happen? It's because full self-driving, truly auto drive, means the car picks you up, you get in, you tell it where to go, it takes you there with roughly the capability of a very good human driver in pretty much all situations and domains, which is all those things we just covered is roughly what a good human driver can do. But here's the thing. Once we get that capability, and there's tons of driverless vehicles on the roads, transportation, and in some cases, lifestyle, will be able to change a lot in ways most folks haven't thought through, which is what this video is about. Now, most people haven't thought them through just because they have better things to think about. But if you like thinking about the future, which is maybe why you follow this channel, or you are an investor, engineer, or founder, boy, are there lots of opportunities coming up in the space that are really just like quite different from what we've seen with cars before. And hopping into this situation early, which I assume a lot of people are already developing this kind of stuff, if they're thinking ahead, could be a really, really big deal and get a chance for you to make products and offer services that are just like really next level amazing. Let's take a look at some of these. First, car design. If humans don't drive the cars, there's absolutely no need to have front-facing seats. Of course, steering wheel and all that shit, pedals go completely out the window. You can have a rectangular internal seating arrangement or a circular internal seating arrangement such that people are facing each other. Cars can have any kind of seating arrangement, but can now have very super maximum recline, really comfy seats. Even cars can have a big couch instead of comfy seats, which is a big deal. Some cars that are more utility focused can remain more utility focused and have kind of individual seats, like, auto taxi cabs and stuff like that. Some of these cabs will do pool passengers. So a few people will get in, a few people will get out. And so that's more utility focused. And so that's totally fine. But then other cars can be more leisure focused. For example, a car that just has a giant couch circular around the car with one exit door and like a coffee table in the middle. And then you and your friends can hop into that motherfucker on Friday night and go to the club. Scott, did you just fart? You're still farting.
Around, not me farting, I promise.
Yes. And you can face each other, something you can't do in a current car. Here's the other really cool thing about this is that you can use drugs and alcohol in a car at this point because it doesn't matter. You're not driving.
Oh, yeah.
That's like Scott, what a big deal, right? Like you could go to whatever restaurant or club you want with your friends. It could be 45 minutes away or an hour away. You're just like pre-partying the entire time.
Pre-game driving?
Pre-game driving is a next level, right? It's totally next level. And it's like you don't have to rent a party bus for the shit. You can just do it in any variety of cars. And you can already see like the Tesla or the Uber or Lyft apps having like a what kind of car you want to order. And it's like, yeah, like I want to order a fucking party car that has all the shit, and drink holders. I mean, there's an opportunity for business here where from, Lyft in 2028 or Uber, you may be able to order a car that will like literally take you to the club, but it shows up with the circular seating couch arrangement. Couch is designed to be super easy to clean from spills because you're absolutely going to spill a bunch of drinks. And Scott, what about this? Like it has a cooler built in, and Uber like loads it for you with fucking drinks, or you can load it in advance by just clicking things on the app. Then it shows up on Friday night. It's like a party car.
Sick.
Obviously, like the stereo system will be custom made. You can just like instantly your app ports over to your playlist and do all that stuff. It can be super what's that called? The windows can be ultra tinted for that extra privacy.
You and I can be listening to Barbie Girl, drinking White Claws and rosé and headed to town.
I can throw up all over that car. It'll just get clean.
I'll hold your hair back.
Beautiful. Yeah. And then, that car can do like whatever kind of stuff. It can go charge, it can go chill, it can drive some other people around, and you can have it predetermined to like when you click a button, or just when, the predetermined time comes up, it comes back up and picks your ass up from the club and takes you home. Huge, huge deal. And sort of on this note, one of the interesting things is that driving under the influence, DUI, becomes like really a thing of the past for two reasons. One, people have self-driving cars that just don't have the opportunity to do it. But if you're driving your own car and you get popped for DUI because you just didn't think things through, then it's totally reasonable at that point for the legal ramifications to escalate all the way up quite rapidly to like you just never get to drive a car again. And it used to be like, oh my God, that's like going to cripple your ability to get around, to go to work and go to school and all that stuff. Then in like 2029, it's going to be like, well, fucking cars drive themselves, man. It's no big deal. You just don't get to drive your car for leisure anymore. So if you have like a Shelby Cobra or some shit, you just got to give it up, or you got to keep it or sell it or something because you just never drive it again because you showed us that you were too irresponsible to do so. It would be a bit arcane to do that now. Nah, 2029, man, self-driving cars are everywhere. It's really like you're not missing out on much. It's like someone tells you you're not allowed to use a typewriter anymore. You're like, well, shit, what a terrible thing. What a big take home from this part is the form factors internally of cars, and even externally, something I'll get to in a bit, can be really, really diverse. Right now, almost every car is kind of similar. There's two seats in the front, 3 in the back. There may be another row if it's like an Escalade or whatever, or, one of those Uber pool situations. Maybe not if it's a regular car. Everything has the same style seat belts. Everyone faces forward. There's just going to be a huge kind of Cambrian explosion diversity in the kinds of transportation vehicles for humans that you will see riding around. That's a big deal, and an opportunity for a lot of really cool entrants into the vehicle space to make their mark. Maybe they're not the ones making the car or the chassis, but maybe they're the ones interior decorating and interiorly choosing to mod up the car. Huge deal. It's like, Tesla Incorporated probably doesn't want to hyper mod every car, Scott. Like, they just want to put out general frames off of the fucking thing with the auto drive computer. And then they might have like open contracts with like any company that wants to, like, as long as your shit is safe, you can rebuild the inside of a Tesla however the fuck you want. Like, I could totally see that happening in the future. That would be amazing, right? So, interestingly enough, the diversity of form factors goes as far as not really having seats in the car at all. Rented cars or owned cars, not cabs. This would be a funny concept to have in a cab, though possible. Can just be a seating area and a bed, or maybe a minor seating area and a bed, or just a bed. I mean, unreal for overnight trips or coming back from the club to just have a bed. But that gets us to another feature, and that feature is trip duration. Right now, road trips are limited by human driver endurance. You got to stop regularly for bathrooms, snacks, fuel is a big one. Even then, you need to sleep. So driving the whole day and night isn't ideal, even if you have a driver rotation situation. One person drives for 3 hours, then another person. Like, that kind of sucks. It's not ideal. But with truly self-driving cars, you can just hang out and only stop when you need snacks or to use the bathroom. And at night, the car can stop by itself and get charged. So you go to bed. You are in either really comfy seats or a fucking literal bed inside the car. And you're driving through the night, and one of two options exist. That car can schedule its own stops for fuel, for recharging, pull into a recharger, chill there for 20, 30 minutes, back out, and keep going on the road. You're asleep the entire time, by the way. Or that car can have a next generation battery pack, which are they're not inevitable, they're already in testing, and potentially get 1,000 miles per charge. And so if a car gets 1,000 miles per charge and can drive autonomously overnight, then all of a sudden, you go to bed, you sleep, you wake up, and on your road trip, you are 700 miles closer to Yosemite Falls or to your in-laws or wherever your trip is taking you. Scott, imagine that, man. Going to bed overnight and you're 700 miles down in your journey.
That's so awesome.
It would just like
a dream come true.
A dream come true. Quite literally a dream because you're fucking sleeping the entire time. Unbelievable stuff. Total radical departure for how we do things now. This means that we have to rethink commuting distances to damn near anywhere because they can be higher because you can work or eat or chill or sleep on the way. So even if you have like a 1 hour commute to the gym, you want to use some awesome gym in town that's just like, you know, the best gym and the awesome community. And you're like, fuck, it's 47 minutes away. But if you don't have to drive the car, that's 47 minutes of you doing laptop work, of you talking on the phone or video conferencing, of you just chilling with friends you go to the gym with and just vibing, of you having a pre-workout snack or anything in between and just like scrolling on your phone or using your VR headset or some shit like that. Huge deal, which makes longer commutes no longer stressful. They're just a really comfortable place where you just take up time. And we all know how to use time really well in a comfy place. If you take essentially the convenience of a couch with a TV and you smash it into a car, that changes the game big time. And then some people, not all, will be able to commute like substantially more than they would otherwise with basically zero stress. Here's an example of this kind of, that's something we could see, in a few years. I'm familiar with the Metro Detroit area. It's kind of where I grew up, so I'll just use an example from there. A family of 4, right? Mom, dad, and 2 kids they live in Metro Detroit, and they want to go to Holland, Michigan, which is 2.5 hours away. It's a really awesome beach town on the Michigan lakeshore. 2.5 hours a day, or a 2.5 hour drive there and 2.5 hour drive back. Let's say they want to go on a Saturday, 2.5 hour drive with kids. Fuck that. A lot of people just won't do that. Or if they'll do that, they'll have to stay overnight because we're not just going to drive for one day. We're going to drive for 5 hours with little kids and pretend people are having a good time. It's like stress city for the parents and arguably for the kids as well. But it's a self-driving vehicle and it has a table and couch situation with super comfy chairs all centrally facing. Now that turns into 2.5 hours of you eat breakfast. Like you literally wake up, everyone showers, get some, tote bags going, and then just gets into the car. You have breakfast in the car. You spend that time, 2.5 hours lounging, playing card games with the family, watching the road whiz by, and then you're on a 1-day beach vacation. You simply come to Holland, Michigan, get out of the car with backpacks, and then you have a day in Holland, Michigan. Like if you leave at 8 a.m., by 11 a.m., you're walking around Holland, looking at all the little shops, going to the beach, going to the riverfront. It's all unbelievable. And then you have dinner at 5 p.m., and at 7 p.m., the car picks you back up. You get back into the car and it's reading time. It's some kids' TV, dozing off until you're back home in time for showering and bed with zero stress. This is one hell of a value proposition. That changes the game. Scott, can't you see like a 1950s style commercial for that? Like, yeah, you've been working hard all week long and your family wants to go to Holland, Michigan. Amazing, right? The whole fucking botched reel and everything. It's wonderful stuff. And it's real. Like, wow, you're living in the future now, see? And dad smiles. Of course, obviously, anti-Semitic undertones, typical stuff. Scott's nodding, by the way, to that. Yeah. So next big change that can happen is car size. All of that 2.5 hours to Holland, Michigan with a family of 4 sounds like maybe a bit cramped in a regular car. And there are ways to design regular cars in which you wouldn't be cramped at all, especially like an SUV sized car. Holy shit, there's plenty of space. But why does it have to be a regular car? Guys, I legitimately think that the late 2020s, early 2030s, we may be seeing the golden age of the recreational vehicle. RVs are amazing. But one of the big downsides of RVs is having to drive that fucking thing. I've driven an RV from Michigan to Montana and Montana to Michigan back in the winter. And it was awful. Scott, it was one of those things where the steering wheel is disassociated from the steering column by an inch of movement.
Oh,
So you're just doing this the whole time and nothing's happening. And if the car starts drifting, you have to do this and you have to do that. It's like, it's insane. It is totally insane. It was the worst experience ever. And the thing is so fucking gigantic that you think like we were driving it through Chicago and there was one where there was no shoulder, right? There's just like a freeway, like the concrete slab and then a semi trucks on the other side. And you're like, this car is the width of the entire lane. I have like 8-inch margin of error and the steering wheel doesn't fucking work. It was the worst thing ever. But if that thing drives itself, holy crap, we're into some real different stuff. You can have a car that's a legit mini house on wheels, like it is today, except you get to use it while it's driving itself. Multiple bedrooms, kitchen, dining area, chilling area, bathrooms, the works. You just get in and the road trip becomes the vacation. You don't have to worry about who's driving, none of that stuff. Party bus, check, except driverless. And party buses, and I have a hypothesis for this. Seemingly, we're going to have some decent labor force availability because AI is going to take so many office jobs. But maybe there's a job for a human to be present on a party bus to just be a bartender / set the tone for fun and get the party going so that people could be on the party bus and you have an attendant or two that they don't have to drive the car. Their job is to make sure everyone's having a ton of fun. And so all of a sudden you still have a driver in a party bus, but they don't drive the car anymore. They're able to do all that awesome stuff, like get the party going, so on and so forth. And that's a big deal. You can also have radically different designs. You can have a hot tub on the roof. You can have a hot tub in the car. It just doesn't matter. A literal house on wheels, just the ultimate RV of many different sizes, and they already have these, except you just have to drive them now. That could be a thing that folks who are into outdoorsy stuff, like people are really into hiking, really into climbing, really into mountain biking. Sometimes they like to just travel around an area, or really the entire United States and Canada, to get awesome hikes and bikes and climbing opportunities in. They could just live in a house like that. And as a matter of fact, I think a lot of people may choose to, because if it's a self-driving car and it's a house, it might just be the size of like a medium-sized truck, nothing massive. That thing might cost like $50,000. And it's a house that has all your stuff in it. It's incredibly modern and comfortable. You might just take it and live in various places. Scott, can you imagine like coming to Miami and living for 6 months out of your house? You don't have to move fucking anything. And then you just go to Baltimore and get shot. No, sorry, I don't know why I came up with Baltimore, but that's nice.
Bulletproof glass.
Yeah, it's bulletproof glass. Yeah. So, it's a really like living in one place, period, may no longer be a constraint. When you have an RV, you got to take it to RV centers. You got to do all that stuff to it. But if it's truly self-driving, that opens up the market to like everybody. And that's a really, really, really big deal. You can have seamless rentals with things like this, so you don't have to own the thing. You rent it, it drives over to get you, and it drops you off. There's absolutely a couple $1 billion markets in these things. Innovators, you heard it here first. Probably not first, but you heard it here. Car ownership might change. Some people are going to want to own their own cars just on vibes. I totally hear that. If you live in a rural area, you're probably going to want to own your own car because like there's not enough cabs around to come reliably get you. But if you live in a city or even dense suburbs, then Uber/Lyft style services can auto drive to pick you up. And you may be able to set your, like say your app such that, or, you probably talk to your AI at that point and it does it for you. You set it up so that it reliably shows up 5 minutes before you have to go to work or the gym or whatever, and reliably shows up to pick you up after work or the gym or whatever. That is such a big deal that a lot of people will be like, well, anytime I want to go to the grocery store, I need the car off hours. It's at most a 10 or 20 minute wait. And I just tell my AI when I'm in the shitter, like, hey, I want to go to the store. Can you get me a car? And it's like, yep, a car is 17 minutes away. You're like, all right, sweet. So that's plenty enough time to jack off at least 3 times. And then if you're going to work or wherever, or going to school and you're going to the gym, something like that, all of a sudden, you can set a schedule that the car is there waiting for you at like 7:59 every morning. Like, Why exactly would you need a car? Because remember, when you have a car, you have to pay for shit. You have to upkeep the fucking thing. You have to like put it somewhere. If you really just like live in a big metro area, car ownership might not have to be a thing. And then the car, when it's not tending to you and tends to other people, we need fewer cars overall, and or everyone just has way more access to transportation, some combination of the two. Next big thing is traffic jam management. Once a large segment enough of cars become autonomous, they will start behaving like a swarm instead of single units. The Swarm in theaters this summer. Scott, that sounds pretty scary, right? A swarm.
It's like locusts.
Ugh, gross. This means that the cars in the swarm that drive themselves can prevent most traffic jams via speed setting and rerouting, among other strategies. Let me give you an example of both of those. For speed setting, for example, if the cars all go 75 miles per hour for the next 5 miles, then they'll plug up on the exit ramp of a very common exit, and it'll cause a mile-long stop jam. Like, people just stop. But if all of the cars know this, and all of them slow down to about 60 miles an hour, then, and they do that 6 miles away from the exit, there may be enough fluidity that no one stops at all, and all the cars that need to exit off of 60 miles an hour or off of the exit just exit at 60. And so instead of stopping and causing crazy delays, you slow down a little bit and cause minimal delays altogether. As a matter of fact, the cars that have to take that exit can communicate with the cars around them and be let in to go all off on their own lane so that there's no delay in lane changes. All the cars that are going off on that exit in 6 miles, because it's pretty dense traffic, within 4 miles, they're already in the appropriate lanes to take that exit. That's something right now that has to happen manually with agent intelligences inside cars talking to each other. It's going to happen autonomously, and it's going to be way, way, way more fluid. No road rage, none of that shit. And if the swarm detects a lot of traffic in one exit, some cars can be rerouted to go to other exits and other paths so that the average time to destination for the whole swarm stays as low as possible. Google Maps already does this for you. This will just happen automatically and will be that much better. And auto drive cars, self-driving cars, can avoid accidents way better than humans can, especially when those accidents are caused by humans. An auto drive car like my Tesla, for example, has perfect awareness 360 degrees at all times. It doesn't blink. It doesn't think about anything else. It's not thinking about how it had once aspirations, great ones for its life, but it just disappointed everyone and everything. And why just drive off the fucking road right now? I don't hope it thinks that. It doesn't think shit like that. It is perfectly aware 360 degrees. So if a drunk human driver starts to swerve into the lane, it'll calmly check everything around it to make sure it doesn't cause a pileup and swerve away gently and then call the police, and then that's that. And so you can avoid accidents by a huge, huge, huge amount, which also helps traffic in a huge way. Next, we can have the end of peak hours as we know it. Human drivers cluster into a kind of 8 to 9 a.m. commute and a 4 to 6 p.m. commute. But if commuting is comfortable and productive, it's not something you have to grit your teeth in and do. Some people might be more inclined to leave at 6 a.m. because you can just sleep in the fucking car or have your breakfast in the car. Some people might go to work at 10 a.m. if we're even commuting to work. There's some jobs, so many jobs will require commuting. And some people will work in transit so that their workday starts in the car and ends up in the actual office or wherever, factory, wherever they're working. And so autonomous scheduling systems can optimize departures and times for global congestion reduction. Your car might tell you like, hey, if you leave at 8:17 p.m. today instead of a.m., what kind of job are you doing going to a strip club? The total trip time is going to be 14 minutes shorter, and you'll probably be good with it because you're just like sipping coffee in a moving lounge. Super, super awesome time. Traffic then becomes algorithmic, which means it improves over time, and then traffic jams become a much, much rare thing. Here's another one. Speed. Once you have mostly auto drive swarms and there are very few people on the roads, some stretches of road can actually be super safe at very high speeds. Speeds that humans can't reliably navigate unless they're professionally trained race car drivers or just have balls of steel or stupidity in the boatloads. So on a stretch, if you're on a road trip overnight, on a stretch of nighttime road between Iowa and Nebraska, you may be able to go auto drive at 150 miles per hour. That might be nominal for all the auto drive cars to do at the same time, or at the very least coordinate that some cars go 100, some go 125, and some go 150 based on the 3-lane system. And this may allow you to go to sleep in that car, wake up 6 hours later, and you're 900 miles closer to California beaches and 900 miles closer to California bitches. Am I right, Scott?
Hey, you.
California beaches, Scott, or California bitches?
Both.
Yes, that kind of one lives in the other.
Beaches.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of this can end up trending towards real interesting hypotheticals that I'm not going to spend too much time on, because to me there are so many intersecting variables with the decline of office work because agents will do office work, the increase in various jobs for humans we don't even know what they are, some kind of community type of stuff, medical type of stuff, that in conjunction with those changes, the changes in self-driving can lead to city rezoning substantially. Right now, American cities are paved in parking. There are downtown lots, suburban mega lots, mall oceans of asphalt next to the shopping mall, office park wastelands, the whole thing. I don't like the term office park wasteland. People use that all the time. I think office parks are beautiful, but I'm just fucking weird. Autonomous fleets of vehicles don't need to sit idle next to destinations. They can drop you off, go serve someone else, or go hide in some kind of underground lot or some kind of off-the-grid lot that just way the fuck away from everyone, and it's not even in the center city, and you would just never see it. Entire city blocks that used to have tons of parking on them can become developable land. And the implications there is that the housing supply can increase. Mixed-use density can boom, which means what? You have within the same square mile, lots of residential, lots of schools, lots of medical facilities, lots of grocery stores, and lots of nightlife, all integrated and all walking and biking distance away. And if you want to go from that little segment to another segment, you hop into an auto drive car and it takes you there. That's a really, really big deal that if you tried today, it'll be like, okay, this is all great, but now we need mega structures for parking because all these people, when they want to go somewhere, they're going to need to park their cars. That's not going to be the case anymore, so the ease with which you will be able to do this is going to be much, much more enhanced. Suburban sprawl patterns might change. Land prices might change. Again, this is more complicated because so much other shit is happening due to this crazy AI intelligence explosion, but suffice it to say that not needing your own car and cars driving themselves can radically, radically change land use. A huge one. I think the last thing we're going to discuss here. Ooh, second to last. Yeah. Logistics. Logistics is so fun. Hey, did you guys like Girls Gone Wild? Yeah, well, then you love Logistics Gone Wild. But, However, logistics is a huge deal. Autonomous trucking is beginning now. By 2030, it's going to be the standard. Almost certainly. Autonomous trucks can run 24/7, other than needing to recharge and occasional maintenance. They can massively reduce labor cost. And to be honest, no one goes into trucking anymore. That industry is dying, and it's one of the most important industries in the entire economy. It can increase the volume of supply chain throughput like crazy because you don't have to hire people. There's just guys, legit. It's one of these things where like presidential candidate Andrew Yang, who's a smart fella, he was really worried about truckers losing their jobs due to AI. And it turns out like in that particular case, that was not a realistic worry because they can't get enough people to replace current retiring truck drivers. And that's actually the problem. So all the companies you talk to that are trying to do self-driving for trucking, they talk to trucking companies and the companies are like, please God, get us driverless trucks because we don't have enough humans to do all these shifts. And because people tend to consume more and want the consumption goods faster as they get wealthier, like Amazon needs a lot of fucking trucks to be going around, and so does Walmart, and so does every other part of the economy. So it turns out that we just need self-driving trucks like crazy to just do more work. the reliability of the supply chain massively expands because machines are super reliable, and that can enable hyper just-in-time delivery or even just-in-time manufacturing. If you combine that with AI demand prediction, with real-time route optimization for logistics, and with potentially something called micro warehousing, where you just like store a little bit of stuff and get it to the local community when it needs to be, Amazon Prime becomes like things can just get to you within an hour or two. Now they're damn close to that already, but this might just become the standard pretty much everywhere. And you'll be able to do rural warehousing and rural manufacturing because the auto drive trucks can go anywhere. They don't give a shit. And it's not we don't have enough people to do this kind of problem anymore. If and when transportation costs drop substantially because of this, geographic constraints on how you build things or where you put them loosen to a huge extent. That is such a big deal because people living in rural places a lot of times have to wait a week, 2 weeks for packages other people get in a day or two. That may be coming to an end. Here's another change that self-driving vehicles might really, really enhance. Dating. If mobility becomes effortless, long-distance relationships become substantially less painful. You can meet spontaneously at the mall or at a restaurant or at a club or at the library or wherever. The library, fucking years. Which is a themed bar. Actually, there are a few theme bars called the library. Yeah. And a lot of the waitresses wear like little schoolgirl outfits. Have you seen that one?
No.
And there's a lot of older men and all the waitresses are in college. It's kind of strange. It's not bad. It's just kind of like, very well. In any case, wherever you meet someone, let's say they live 45 minutes away and you live 45 minutes in the other direction. Like typically that's like, holy shit. But if self-driving cars exist, then you just get into one, you do whatever work or leisure you would otherwise do. You can even get into one together and then everyone's having a good time. So the topology of the dating market expands substantially, which is a big deal. And since a lot of people meet each other online now anyway, hey man, that's less of an impediment. Potentially, if your third date is going really well, you quickly cancel your regular car that was going to pick you up and you get the bed car to pick you up instead. And you're, what's up, girl? Let's get into the sex bed and get it popping. And she's like, ooh, daddy. And that's it. You're well on your way. A little condom dispenser that you probably ignore. The whole thing. Scott, what's a condom dispenser?
Oh my God. The car is protection enough.
Yeah. So in some sense. Yeah. You talk to the
protection I need, baby.
You talk to the obstetrician. You're like, we're pregnant. He's like, yes. You're like, but we were in a car. He's like, are you stupid or something?
Yes.
Also, yes. One small, tiny last thing to say about this. Currently, this is no laughing matter. There are 40,000 deaths per year in the United States on the road system, most of them at high speeds. Eventually, when almost all the cars are autonomous, this number can be driven to near zero. And I can't say enough about this. Like just this much is enough. 40,000 lives not extinguished every year is a huge deal. You may be asking yourself a question here. Dr. Mike, you might say, is it possible that in a self-driving car of the future, I will be able to meditate using my Waking Up app by Sam Harris, to which the link in the description exists currently? To which I answer, absolutely. Link in the description. See you guys next time. Oh, and in the comments, list some other ideas ways in which auto driving can really change the game. Oh, and I'll have another episode about this at some point, but cars won't just be driving for much longer. Power density for batteries, the reliability of autonomous flight, which actually autonomous flight, believe it or not, is much easier than autonomous driving because there's like not that much shit in the sky compared to the road, and going around stuff in the sky is a much easier problem of logic than how to go around on the road. Fewer constraints, more affordances. And so a lot of this is why I say late 2020s, maybe early 2030s. I don't talk about self-driving cars into the mid 2030s, late 2030s, because that might be like flying cars, drones, auto drones. And then, if you're partying in Detroit and you feel like going to party in Chicago, That might just be talking to your car and it just like 2 hours later dumps you on top of a skyscraper in Chicago and you're fucking partying. And then you're really cold and you're like, why the fuck did we go to Chicago? See you guys next time.